Hello there, guys. Welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well today as we dive into a very interesting topic that I think has been a very, very big talking point this weekend, off the back of this weekend anyway, in terms of our strikers. And I know there's a lot of split opinion here, and we're going to cover this as much as possible. But before we get cracking, make sure you head to the links in the description. Firstly, go and check out Younes Talks Football merchandise that you can get for yourself. Festive jumpers are on sale and you get free shipping over orders of $75. So make sure you're there. Have a butcher's. Get yourselves what you need in time because time is ticking and we are limited. So make sure you're there. And also, go and check out Shootout for more content, Champions League predictions. We've just done the Premier League roundup as well. That's out. We've got the watch-along for Chelsea-Barcelona. We're going to have flipping just chaos on there. So go and check out myself and George on Shootout. Much appreciated. And talk of the devil, I'm joined by George here today. Hello.
I just wanted to interrupt you for a second there. Your merch arrives fast too.
It does, doesn't it?
Just so you know, the delivery is excellent. So this is good news.
Yeah. And
Thank you for having me on, mate.
Thank you very much. And not just if you're based in the UK, the US or Europe, outside of that as well. I've got things for myself and it's come just like that. So
Younes Talk speed dials, mate.
Speed dials. Talking about speed dials.
This is Chelsea.
Well, we've got a striker debate. And let me paint the picture. Because especially my comments have been very divisive on this. Jackson's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, not too popular in terms of output, right? And we saw the red cards and the lack of discipline and all of that. But the positives on his end, in terms of how involved he gets, how much effort he does bring, his link up with other players, it's just the striker stuff that we lack with Jackson, right? But people are looking at us now, some, in terms of Delap, and they're not convinced. But some are saying, you know what? No, give it Delap some time. And Maresca is alluding to this as well. That, yeah, look, it's 1 in 13. It's not good. But when the goal comes, it'll all start flooding in. And we've had certain things about Delap that we've looked forward to, which even then, I don't think we've got yet. The Diego Costa-esque sort of, type of performances. I don't think he's even done that yet properly, which I'm not too happy with. But there's also another name that's now been thrown in, especially against Burnley, and we saw what he did. And we've seen in parts in the season where we've had to rely on him and he's delivered, and that's Marc Guiu. So, tell me, what do you think the situation is right now in terms of our striker situation? And would you stick Marc Guiu in this conversation as someone that we can actually rely on game in, game out?
I think this is a really hard conversation. Because Nicholas Jackson delivered more than what we've seen so far from our strikers this season over the course of his time at Chelsea, but clearly wasn't the guy. João Pedro is a man you've not mentioned, but again, I think that's because he's not a striker, and I think Chelsea do need
Some will debate
a striker.
he is.
I didn't think he was. He showed me in a couple of games that he could, but does that define him as a striker for the rest of his career? No. Clearly not, because there's been so many times this season where he's been a 9 and he's not done enough to be a 9. Chelsea haven't won the game.
Well, he's not moving like a 9.
But then whose fault is that?
Yeah.
We don't have the time, or we shouldn't have the time to be having conversations about, it's going to come. Don't worry about it. It's going to come soon. And this is where it's tough because Delap is a project striker at this point, the same as Marc Guiu is. So that's where the debate lies because who's going to give you more value? Over the course of 2 years, I think Delap will. But right now, he's not delivering.
Yeah.
But do I trust Maresca to put Guiu in there, but not even just trust Maresca to choose him? Do I think if Marc Guiu was to start and play every game that Delap would be playing, do I think we're going to get goals every game? Not necessarily, no. I think it's too up in the air right now. So the right thing to do, in my opinion, is to keep playing Delap in the hope that he comes good.
I think there's a misalignment overall. And let me know what you think down below, right? Because we've spoken at length in terms of, or at least myself, I've spoken at length in terms of what I think on Jackson after 2 years of football from him. I've spoken at length in terms of the players that we've now brought in. But I think there's a misalignment, and I'll tell you what it is. I think people are looking at Delap as a direct replacement for Jackson, Whereas I don't think that is actually, in terms of structure, the case. João Pedro is Jackson's replacement properly. And why? Because Jackson was our number one striker. João Pedro is the guy that we've brought in to be the main man up front. Not Delap. Delap has been someone that we've brought in to have as an additional striker, which, to be fair to Jackson, and this is where I sympathise with Jackson, he shouldn't have been the number one striker in the first place. I think Jackson should have been in the situation where Delap is right now, where Delap isn't seen as the main man up front. It's João Pedro, technically, that we brought in, that we thought, you know what, he's the one that's going to give us goals. In the same way that we were looking at Jackson and going, you've got to give us goals, and we didn't feel like we got enough from him. But now that we've got two sharing that responsibility, I wish Jackson kind of had that. Because I feel like a little less pressure on Jackson, we might have maybe cut him some slack. But overall, I think that might have helped his performance too, which is what my problem was with him, because he wasn't clinical enough.
I think Jackson this season would have done well in this Chelsea team.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I do. I think he'd have the output would have been better. I think also, this is the thing, Jackson can finish. It's not like he just can't finish. He can. But there were too many times where he showed in the positions where you have to score. At the level that we need a striker at Chelsea Football Club to be operating in, he missed too many, and then we're talking about stupid red cards as well, which hindered Chelsea's ability to win football matches. That's a huge problem, fundamentally. But I'm seeing the same kind of misses from Delap and petulance conversations that we scrutinise Jackson for, like, tenfold. And I know Delap's new, but he's doing the same things.
But this is the thing. When we go back, I don't know about you, but like with Jackson, I remember at the beginning, first season especially, I was literally, and you guys will remember, on my match previews, I was giving you guys Jackson outcomes of what I wanted from him. Game in, game out, I was like, okay, today I'm expecting a goal from you. There were games where I'm like, no, you know what? You've scored in the last couple of games. I don't need you to score today. It's not the end of the world if you don't. I was actually doing that.
To give him the slack.
Yeah, no, because I'm not expecting you to score every game. That's not realistic, right? Right now, I'm at that point with Delap. But because we've seen Jackson, now everyone's got this thing of, oh, what we've seen with Jackson, now we've got to scrutinise Delap completely. No, I'm willing to give Delap some time. In the same way that I did with Jackson. But with Jackson, we saw 2 years. That's my issue. With Jackson, and my main issue, you said about the goals that he can score. But I always look at Jackson, I think, you haven't got the one thing that, me personally, I want to see in a striker, which is just pure instinct.
Which I think Delap has.
But we've not seen it yet.
Yeah, but then...
And this is where I'm willing to give some time.
But this is the conversation you started with here, is Chelsea's problem has been the defence for the majority of this season. We've got goals coming from enough players. We've got Garnacho turning up with it, Pedro Neto, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo. Like, there's goals from all over the field at the moment, which is fantastic. Cucurella is always in that place where he's likely to score somehow. But I do think Chelsea, in terms of like that evolution of what this team could become, and obviously this is a great week to discuss that, because by the end of this week, we could have some answers to these questions, big time.
Yep.
If we can get one of those strikers just scoring every game, then we're winning things.
That would be mint.
Right?
Absolutely mint.
Easier said than done, I know. But I think, to bring it back to your initial question, I think Delap is a better striker still than Marc Guiu. I think Marc Guiu can give you a lot in a short space of time, but will go missing if he plays 90 minutes, week in, week out.
I was going to say the same thing. In the same way, now we're looking at, I'll give an example, Esteval. He has to start. He's ready. He can start. The same way that we're using him, when we bring him on for 20 minutes to make an impact, that's all we can do with Marc Guiu right now.
I think so.
I don't think we can play him game in, game out, 90 minutes. No, because I think he'll just fizzle.
Yeah.
But when you use him for a certain period of time, to finish off a game, to be the cherry on the cake, I think Marc Guiu can do that very efficiently at the moment. And I think even for his development, that's the best way to go. And
also with Delap, I think the movement is good. Like, the runs he makes are good. It's just then what he does when the ball gets to him, which is the problem.
Yeah.
And it's, again, I think that's match sharpness. He was out for quite a while. It's not easy with the mental pressure to run the line for Chelsea. That's not an excuse. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
It's not an easy job to have.
And that's why I sympathise with Jackson to an extent, because he, like I said, shouldn't have been just the one and only striker that we have to rely on.
Yeah.
which Delap now has the liberty of being able to bounce off someone, which is João Pedro, who I still look at as the main guy for goals.
See, I don't know about that either, because my thoughts on Pedro was he was brought in to be like a backup to Palmer, and then because he linked so well with Palmer and was playing up front, then everyone's like, See, I said this before, and I looked like an idiot because I said João Pedro's not a striker. My words were, why have we bought a player who still doesn't really know what he is? I think he wants to be a striker. I still don't think he is a striker. I still think he's a great player, but like. Again, like, I don't know if he's going to score enough goals over the course of a season. And I think if Delap can get enough minutes under his belt, do I think Delap can be a more consistent goal scorer than Pedro? Yes. Because I think he can do a lot more of those, like, striker nuance things.
Yeah.
And then we can see Pedro a little bit more free, potentially. But he needs to do a lot more.
Yeah. And
when it comes to work.
It's a case of even we've still not seen all of these players together consistently. And it goes back to that point. I still want to see Palmer, Pedro, even Esteval, and how Delap fits into that consistently.
Yeah.
And then we'll know exactly what all of these guys are truly about, because they're all actually meant to play together. This is why we bought all of them, to play together, but we've not seen that yet properly.
Yeah.
And now I think with Esteval being introduced, we might start to understand where things could be heading. So we'll give it some time. We'll see. Quick video here today to go over this debate. And I've done this mainly because I also want to get your comments. Let me know your thoughts down below, because this is a very interesting point that I'm seeing is very 50-50 in the fan base right now in terms of João Pedro and his abilities, Liam Delap and where he is right now, Marc Guiu and setting a bar in terms of the impact that he's having and where should he be. This whole conversation now seems like it's very neck and neck. So let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, mate.
Much appreciated.
Big week.
Big week. So make sure you're subscribed to here. Match review will be here straight after the Chelsea-Barcelona game as well. The preview for that game will be out later today. So it will be the second video for today. Make sure you guys are here. And I'll catch all of you then. So have a good one. Subscribe. Notification bell on. See you later. Take care and peace.